Good day to everyone. I am Mikey Talentino, your moderator for today's symposium. The topic is all about structural grammar and transformational generative grammar. May I have this opportunity to present to you our speakers for today. First, Mary Joy Cambe, Casey Pestaño, Rosel Rodriguez, and Roslyn Pacano. And without further ado, let's start with Miss Casey Pestaño.
Good day, everyone. This is Maria Cristina Carla de Quil Pestaño. Today, I'm going to discuss what is the meaning of structuralism or structural grammar. The term structuralism is not difficult for us to infer that it has something to do with a structure. It focuses on sentence structure, patterns of sentences, and appropriate grammar and composition. Structuralism in linguistics asserts the idea that all of the parts in learning English are interwoven, and because they are all interrelated, they don't have the same meaning in isolation. In order for the different parts of the English language to make sense, they need to be working together. According to the work of the anthropologist Claude Lévi-Strauss and literacy critic Roland Barthes, the essence of structuralism is the belief that things cannot be understood in isolation. They have to be seen in the context of larger structures they are part of. So, it is concerned with how the elements of sentence such as morphemes, phonemes, and phrases are put together to create meaning and for us to understand it. In conclusion, structuralism in linguistics makes a great contribution to the analysis of language, both substantially and methodologically. Structuralism is a method of interpreting and analyzing such things as language, literature, and society, which focuses on contrasting ideas or elements of a structure and attempts to show how they relate to the whole structure. That is the meaning of structuralism or structural grammar. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for that information, Miss Casey Pestaño. Now let's listen to Miss Mary Joy Cambe.
Good day everyone, I am Mary Joy Cambe and I will give you additional information about structural grammar in order for you to have clear understanding about this topic. So, in addition to the definition of structural grammar, it is defined as scientific study of language and its structure. Structural grammar is introduced by Ferdinand de Saussure, who is known as the father of American linguistics. In order to analyze the structure of a sentence, structuralists use IC analysis method. IC stands for immediate constituent analysis, and this method is introduced by Leonard Bloomfield in 1933. So we have here an example for structural grammar. Poor John ran fast. To analyze the structure of this sentence, the first step is to divide the sentence into subject and predicate. Here, the subject is poor John and the predicate is ran fast. Poor John is divided into poor and John, and ran fast is divided into run and fast. So, after defining its subject and predicate, the next step is the labeling method, wherein we need to label each word whether it is a noun, verb, or adjective. We have two types of labels. We have class labels and functional labels. When we say class labels, it is labeling the noun, verb, and adjective. Functional labels is labeling subject, object, and verb in a sentence. So, in this sentence, here the noun phrase is poor John and the verb phrase is ran fast. Again, noun phrase is divided into poor and John, wherein poor is labeled as adjective and John is the noun phrase. Run fast is divided into run and fast. Run is labeled as verb phrase and fast is labeled as adjective.
Thank you, Miss Kambe. Now, if you have any question, please don't hesitate to ask before we move on to our next topic, which is the transformational generative grammar, which will be discussed by Miss Rosel Rodriguez and to be followed by Miss Roslyn Pacano.
Hello everyone, I am Rosal Rodriguez and I am here to present to you my report about transformational generative grammar. Transformational generative grammar is proposed by Noam Chomsky and also he is the proponent of the language acquisition device or LAD and universal grammar under the innate theory. So in our previous discussion, in our subject Introduction to Linguistics, we had already discussed there thoroughly what is innate theory. So I will just give you a glimpse in this topic. Innate theory. Language acquisition device is already present in the human brain the day we are born. It asserts that humans are born with the instinct or innate facility for acquiring a language. Also, language acquisition device is a hypothetical tool in the human brain that lets children learn and understand language quickly. In addition to this, we also have here the what we call universal grammar under the innate theory. When we say universal grammar, it is a set of basic principles that are part of the human brain. The theory of universal grammar was proposed suggesting that all children are born with ability to acquire, develop, and understand grammar regardless of where or how they are raised. Let's take this for example. We have the human words for things, and that is what we call noun. And also we have the human words for actions, and that is what we call verbs. Now, it is the natural ability of a language learner to combine nouns and verbs to create a meaningful sentence. Another example of this is that when the child acquires an information that in order to produce a past tense of a verb, you must add the or ed at the end of the word. And then, if you will ask the child to create a past tense of a verb, he or she will just add a the or ed at the end of the word, which is not really taken into account at all times. So from this will now open the door for a complex explanations of grammatical rules under TGG or transformational generative grammar. So in transformational generative grammar, we had already discussed this in our subject structure of English, no? It says there that transformational grammar, also called transformational generative grammar, is a system of language analysis that recognizes the relationship among the various elements of a sentence and among the possible sentences of a language, and uses processes or rules, some of which are called transformations, to express these relationships. So just like what I've said earlier, we had already discussed this in our subject structure of English, wherein we had discussed there the surface and deep structure, the passivization, transforming of declarative sentence into interrogative sentence, and so on and so forth. Transformational grammar assigns both a deep structure and a surface structure to show the relationship of sentences. So for us to better understand the surface structure and this deep structure, I will just give you the example. Okay, I will read the first sentence. The old man bought a book. The second sentence, the old man who is standing outside the mall bought a book. Or the third sentence, So Old Man Boats a book about entrepreneurial strategy. So as you can see in these sentences, we have different structures of the sentences. This is what we call the surface structure. No? These sentences have different arrangement of words, or the physical appearance of the sentences is different from one another. On the other hand, no, if we will analyze these sentences, we will now have a deep structure of it. When we say deep structure, it is the meaning conveyed in the sentence, or the semantics. It talks about the semantics. Okay? In these sentences, no, all of these sentences have the same deep structure, or the meaning, or the semantics. However, they differ from each other on surface structure, or the physical appearance of the sentences. It is because of the different rules for transformations and word insertions. And lastly, under transformational generative grammar, we have here to what we call linguistic competence and linguistic performance. In linguistic competence, it is a language user's underlying knowledge about the sentence, about the system of rules. Okay? For example, if the language learner already know about the noun, the pronoun, the set of rules, that learner will now able to create sentences, a meaningful sentence. But it is not just enough, no? So, here is what we call linguistic performance. When we say linguistic performance, it is the actual use of language in concrete environments. Okay, it is the actual exercise of the language learned in which your linguistic competence, no, will not taken into account through real situations. So that's how it goes. That's how transformational generative grammar works. So that ends my report. For additional examples regarding this topic, one of our member will present and explain it to you. Okay? Once again, I am Rosal Rodriguez, and thank you for listening.
Hello everyone. Well, this is Roslyn Bacano, and Ms. Rodriguez just discussed a while ago what is transformational generative grammar is. And for us to be able to understand more about this TGG, we just have to keep in mind that in its simplest form, TGG means transforming of basic sentence to create a new sentence, wherein only the structure of the sentence will change but the meaning of the sentence stays the same. In TGG, we have these transformational rules, wherein changes takes place from one type to another through specific rules. It means change one structure into another. It also allows us to produce new sentences from the existing ones. It may be a change from positive to negative, interrogative, and passive. And now, let's apply TGG with this sentence. Anna killed the snake. As you can see, the sentence was arranged into active voice, where the subject comes first, followed by the verb, and lastly the object. Through TGG, we could transform this sentence into passive voice, and it would be the snake was killed by Anna. And now, the object comes first, followed by the verb, and lastly the subject. Next, with this sentence, we could also transform this into interrogative sentence, wherein when we say interrogative, it should be answered by yes or no. And the sentence now would turn out like this. Did Anna kill the snake? And lastly, this sentence could transform into a negation, where when we say negation, it talks about the negative structure of the sentence. And now the sentence would turn out like this. Anna didn't kill the snake. And that ends my report. Thank you guys for listening.
That's all for this topic. which is a structural grammar and a transformational generative grammar. Thank you for listening. And if you have any question, just open your mic and ask. Thank you.